Home is where you dig it, man.
Order 1161. Roger, check 3.
What's going on, guys? Reaper here, and welcome to Reaper's Papa-San Supply. So as you can see, it is raining. It's been raining since last night. It's supposed to rain the rest of the day, probably tonight, and part of tomorrow. So I think we're also in a flood warning until 6 a.m. tomorrow. But it's supposed to get colder over the next couple of days, and I figured what better time than now to go ahead and head out to the base and check out the current status of it now, and also kind of talk about the future plan and where we're going to go with things with the base. Also, it gives me the opportunity to knock out two birds with one stone, as I've never seen the base or even been to the base during consistent long-term rain or during flood warning or anything like that. So to give me the chance to check out the trenches and the bunkers and everything else during this type of weather, and kind of gauge and see what I may possibly have to do or set up for long term, so it doesn't completely erode, wash away, or affect it in that matter. So, interestingly, it's actually a lot closer than I remember it being. I'm going to cut back around this way, as the actual trail up to the entry, or the temporary entry, is just right up around here. Alright guys, so I made it to the base, but before I show it to you, because quite honestly I really don't want to, so I actually haven't been out here to look at or even work on the base almost 4 years probably. I was actually out here, I think, close to a couple years ago. Well, now that we're in 2022, so I think it was 2020 I was out here last. A semi-local reenactor had come out to, one, look at the base and kind of take a gander at parts of the property, as we were talking about going ahead and getting out here and setting things up for reenactors. So that was the last time I actually came out here and looked at it. Of course, that was during the summer when it was hot as hell, and everything was just completely grown up. So it's kind of a pain to get in here, and it looks way different now, but this gives me something to kind of look at. But yeah, like I said, it's been like 4 years since I've messed with this thing. Really, there's 4 different reasons. One, I think I started building it shortly after I started the business, so that kind of took priority. 2, during that period, I was dating somebody that lived over 3 hours one way, and most of my time was spent either driving or staying in that area. Also, during that, I went into EMT school, which continued to take up more of my time with business and that. Near the end of the whole relationship and EMT school stuff, I actually wound up having some health issues that, well, if you guys remember right, there was about a year there I didn't touch or take any orders or do anything business related, and that was why. So with all of that, I never really got the opportunity or the chance or the ability to come out here and do anything to the base or keep it up. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and kind of take a look at this thing, because you guys are probably going to hate me. I kind of hate myself, but you guys are really definitely going to hate me. So if you remember the videos, that was the main bunker. Coming around, that's the trench line, and then the other bunker that was getting started is right up in there. So we'll go ahead and take a look at all this stuff, see what the actual status is, and, well, just talk about what we're going to be doing next. Anyway, bunker. That's a really sad sight, because the last time you guys probably saw it in the video, there was a whole wall here, whole front wall, side walls back. That was all built up, and those were all up here. So you can really kind of see what happened here. All basically, oh look. Home is where you dig it, man. Hell yeah. Okay. Water pooling. Not so well, maybe a little bit for the trench line. It's really hard to tell with all those leaves in there right now. But you can kind of see just the condition of the sandbags. Most of them aren't even recognizable as sandbags now. Part of the issue here, like for this with this bunker, for example, okay, I really screwed this part up. When I built this bunker, I knew better and should have done something a little different than what I did. I didn't double stack them. So essentially what I mean by that is, you know, down here in the trench line, I stacked, you know, say 1, 2, and then full length this way, all the way back, kind of interlocking and weaving the sandbags basically. I did not do that with this bunker, and I should have. I had maybe gotten a little overzealous, wanting to hurry up and get stuff built and put up, and had plans of coming back to it and adding dirt up to and double stacking the sandbags later, which, as you can see, never happened, and thus it all caved in. That's just not structurally sound, one, and two, really doesn't offer you any protection. So this does not surprise me this happened. If you saw one of the videos of the very first base I built many years ago before I moved here, I was actually recently back on that property this last year to pick up the Vietnam OH-6 helicopter, and went out and looked at that base, which I've got some photos and stuff from that I'll make another video on here later on in the future about. Surprisingly, most of that stuff was still intact. One bunker was fully just caved in. The other one was still mostly there, which is surprising. And most of the sandbags and the trench line and all that, that was still kind of there. The mortar pit was pretty much gone. The main CP bunker was kind of sort of there, but it was predominantly built with 55-gallon drums, so that was, again, no surprise. But it lasted longer than this did. This has only been out here like 4 years. That's been out there like 15 years, so that's a big difference there. And another thing to mention, I used actual burlap building the old one instead of these, what are they, polypropylene, I think, sandbags. So it's just surprising that this has happened, but I do know why. So part of it is here in this part of Missouri, or just Missouri in general, has a lot of rock in the soil. And looking at these sandbags and just how some of them have completely rotted without being on or being in direct contact with the ground or anything like that, It's probably from all the weather we get, all the constant rain we get almost all year long. Just the elements, the summers, man, they're hardcore, they're hot. They probably break apart and tear these sandbags down really quick. And then with all the rock in it, they're just not holding up. So that's why this has kind of gone to the condition it has. And also, the boxes I built, predominantly looks like they pretty much stayed together. They didn't really rot. But they've just, well, the exception of that one. That one totally rotted. But the rest of them, they just kind of seem like they just fell apart. Again, same thing. You know, being out here as long as I have been and just in the condition does not surprise me. Even treated wood. So that's going to be something we'll have to change up and do a little different. Yeah, dude. Anyway, so just look at that sandbag, man. It just totally fell apart. Just nothing. Look at it. Okay, so the new plan, especially since it's been sitting out here as long as it has, which is kind of a good thing, because then that means that the trench I've already got dug out, bunker I've already got dug out. It's going to be a lot easier now to get through various bits of the soil here, and I can dig it deeper. So I'll be able to get that bunker potentially deep enough that you can actually stand up in it instead of having to get way down low on your knees and crouch into it. And then again with the trench too, that way I don't have to stack the sandbags so freaking high. And then this other bunker over here, which I never did finish digging out. Should be able to go ahead and continue to dig this out and make it another bunker and hopefully get it as deep as I want. Now, you can't really see it on camera, but we're basically on a slope. So if you look here, this continues to go up. So it's definitely not level. There's another problem, is that right here for this edge of the base, all the water runoff is going to come straight down to this area. However, I'm going to come out here and do some leveling on this hillside. I've still got a bunch of trees and shrubs to go ahead and clear out, as you can see. But pretty much clear a good portion of this hill. And then we can repurpose a bunch of that dirt for sandbags. So we should have enough to do, well, quite a bit. At least get these bunkers and this trench line sorted out and maybe make another bunker and whatnot. How big am I thinking about making this? My big plan for this is to build a CP bunker, which I think I've mentioned before, somewhere up in here a little further. Mortar pits, entrenchments for artillery. I want to make a helo pad up here somewhere to eventually put the OH6 in, or on. I also want to make an actual hooch. And have an area to build, or set up, I mean, a full-on GP medium 10. But I don't want to stop there. I want to have a latrine, a shower area, and potentially a medium, smallish tower. Now, because this hill does slope like it does, what I may do is level up like you see on some bases in certain areas, or certain parts of bases where you have a slope like this. You get to a level area, and then you have all your fortifications and trenches and bunkers and stuff kind of stepping down, like so. I may build it like that. I mean, it's not going to be a small base. There's several things I want to add and implement into the building of this. And if you guys have ideas or suggestions of certain things to add or include into this, let me know. One thing for sure I definitely want to try and do is build like a mini PX with a museum and combo station and all of that. I'm not going to be doing anything on this base until it gets a little warmer. So closer to spring, you guys will start seeing more videos and hopefully more regular videos of the building of this thing. I know it's kind of sickening to see it in this state. I'm kind of upset with myself for letting it get this far, just not coming out here and doing anything, but that's okay. I fully expected it, especially with that bunker. I knew it was just not going to permanently hold up like that. So not a big deal. I know some of you guys are probably annoyed because you want to see a whole lot more, and now you get to see, well, extra work. But I promise you guys that when I get back to building this, I will build this bunker properly and continue on and add a few extra things and be making real progress for you guys. Because I know you guys really want to see it and keep following along with and what. And some of you actually would probably love to come out here and be a part of this one day. So with that too, when I go back to rebuilding this, I'm going to be doing and implementing a few things into making certain areas, or a good majority of it, permanent. Which is kind of hard to do with sandbags and stuff like that, but I do have a plan. So that's something you guys are, you're gonna appreciate it, I promise. So even seeing the base in its current condition and status, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. And until the next time, remember, stay frosty, ride or die, Reaper out.